Hi everyone, thanks for joining us at In the Know. We're catching up with some of your favorite celebs, reality TV stars, and more direct from their homes. I'm your host, Gibson Johns, and today we're joined by Hannah Bronfman, DJ and founder of HB Fit. Hannah and I chatted about her meaningful collaboration with Highline Wellness to create a CBD bath bomb, the launch of which was pushed back from early June amid the Black Lives Matter protests, in order to make sure that the collab gave back to the movement in a sincere way. We also touched upon her increasing willingness to use her platform to talk about politics, social justice, and other important topic areas, as well as her experience as a Black woman navigating multiple industries, and the various conversations that she has had with friends and peers in the last several weeks. Keep listening for my full interview with Hannah. So Hannah Bronfman, thanks so much for calling in. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. We're recording this right before the long holiday weekend, so
Yes.
that's definitely going to be a nice break, I think, for everyone.
Totally. Although, this week has just been so crazy because no one wants to do anything for the next 5
Exactly.
days. So, trying to get everything done right now.
Exactly. So we can get right into it. I mean, we're connecting today to talk about a really meaningful partnership that you're doing with Highline Wellness for the new CBD bath bomb. And, as I understand it, it was supposed to launch in early June when a lot of the protests and, conversations around police brutality and racial injustice were really erupting around the country. So, I'd love to hear first just about the decision to delay the launch and to make it more meaningful and kind of the steps that you guys took to do that.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, the product was always supposed to come out in early June, and it's actually a product I've been working on for R&D this product 3 years ago. So I've
Wow.
been very excited about the launch of this, and obviously with everything going on with the BLM movement and all of the protests and all of the triggering content that we have been just subjected to, it just felt like we needed to delay. It just didn't feel like the right time. And although, there have been so many amazing conversations around Black-owned businesses, Black-owned products, how to support the Black economy, I just wanted to wait for a moment um, where things didn't feel so fragile and triggering.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the reason why I also kind of wanted to push forward and launch this product is because I truly believe that this product will help people feel better. I think now more than ever, we kind of realize how much self-care really does matter to our day-to-day lives. I think we're seeing, obviously this is a pandemic, but this is a real anxiety pandemic. I think we are seeing people um, so scared, angry, fragile, confused, outraged. And if we don't find those personal moments of calm, um, then we can't really operate at our optimal. And it's really quite
Totally.
important now more than ever that we slow down, choose our words wisely and precisely, because
Mm-hmm.
now is the moment where our voices finally are being amplified.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
Yeah, and I think like what you said is sort of if you aren't presenting your best self, then how can you expect better from others almost? And it's like I think that's such an important kind of often forgotten about thing to remember for people.
totally.
Um, and so I know like when you guys did delay, you kind of opted to do several. It's kind of like a multi-pronged thing that has made this partnership even more meaningful. You're engaging more with like your own community. 25% of the proceeds of the sales of the bath bomb are going to go to organizations that you're going to choose personally with Highline Wellness. I mean, I'm just reading a list of it's kind
Yeah.
of a long list of things, but just talk to me about some of these steps because it really is kind of walking the walk and it's I think it's nice to see putting money where your mouth is really.
100% walking the walk is such an ethos of mine throughout my entire life.
Uh-huh.
And being able to do that with this product launch with a brand that actually is committed to doing good just feels what's like that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I think, now more than ever, consumers are super conscious about where their dollars are going. And as I have been taking action at home by personally donating to the ACLU, the NAACP, Campaign Zero, we felt that it was important for this product to reflect my personal ethos as well as the brands.
Yeah.
The brand, and when I say the brand, I mean Highline Wellness, has also already been donating 10% of all of their product sales,
Right.
across everything that they sell on their site to these organizations. And um, besides donating a part of the proceeds, it was important to me, and this kind of came up even before BLM, but really because of the pandemic,
Right.
um, you know, and also because I am someone who does get gifted a lot of stuff, and it just seems really contrived and unfair that people who only have Instagram followings can receive free product.
Right.
So we committed to giving 100 products to people who really need a pick me up, whether
It's
that's,
amazing.
people who have been affected by the pandemic, have lost their jobs, or single parents, are dealing with BML and all the triggering content, who just need a break. So we're excited to kind of have that angle of this. I think, um, for me, that was a big part of our campaign, was that, and also personally, like, I want to make a product that real people want to use, and that can affect their lives in an uplifting way.
They can truly give themselves a treat yourself moment.
Yeah.
So I've actually never used a bath bomb before. So it would talk to me about sort of like what are the benefits of bath bombs in general? What does the CBD bath bomb with Highline Wellness do?
Oh my
Because I need to try.
gosh.
I've been
You
deprived.
you totally have been. Wait, are you a bath person?
I mean, like I'm mostly a shower person, but like
Okay.
I can appreciate a nice bath.
Okay. So, okay, so baths, first of all, for me are very nostalgic. I grew up, my mom always put me in the bath before school.
Love it.
She would sing a little song to me. And then as I kind of grew up, into like a young adult, even in college, like in the apartments that I lived in, I had, like a bathtub and a shower, but I would always kind of opt to take a bath, even if it wasn't in like a chic, cool bath. It was just like, whatever. I could make like a
Doesn't
tub of
always need
water
to be
happen.
chic.
No. So, I it's just one of those moments that are super grounding for me in general. So
Hmm.
then, fast forward, I, have an apartment with my husband, and the one thing I wanted was a bathtub, and now I've become this, like, I'm very much entrenched in the wellness world, and I consider myself like a little bit of a wizard. I love to concoct potions,
Okay.
honestly, in my kitchen and in my bath.
Hmm.
So I love to mix different salts and different essential
Oils and things.
oils and fragrances mixed with different powders. And so I'm always kind of like creating some sort of vibe for the bath. And when I wrote my book, Do What Feels Good, in 2019, I included 9 different bath like recipes.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so I was really excited, to kind of, because the bath is a very healing place.
Hmm.
It can, and it can really be very specified for different ailments, whether it's sore muscles or detoxifying, or simply to heal, uh,
Your mind,
itchy,
honestly. Yeah.
your mind, but also itchy skin. Like,
Mm.
there's so many things that you can do with the bath to really, honestly help your mind, body, and soul. So, this specific bath bomb is really more of the relaxing components, but also skin soothing. So, calendula is one of those amazing ingredients that is just like kind of the cure all for any sort of irritations that you're
Mm-hmm.
having. Rose powder is extremely hydrating. And lots of times, baths can kind of strip you of some of that hydration. It's very important to drink water pre and post
Mm-hmm.
bath. And what I love about the CBD is that I think people forget that everyone has a endocannabinoid system in their body, right? Our bodies respond very well to this plant, and
Mm-hmm.
specifically the isolate of CBD. So, and you know, when you're in the water and your pores are open, you are getting the full effect of the CBD. And we wanted, a pretty good dose in there to help just calm, relax, bring that nervous system to a rest and relax mode, take you out of that fight or flight mode,
Mm-hmm.
and really just like have this be a moment of grounding and calm.
And slow you down. Right. That's so
Totally.
nice. Well, it sounds extremely ideal, especially during these times. So I think
Yeah.
the timing is really right here. And like I said, we're talking right before the 4th of July weekend. But you have a really exciting gig coming up where you're DJing for Kamala Harris's, is it a fundraiser for Joe Biden's victory fund? And that's
Yeah.
major. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
How did that like happen?
So my friend DJ Cassidy called me and he said, "Hey, what do you think of Kamala Harris? Are you a fan?" And I said, "Of course I'm a fan." And I was actually just getting ready to do a lot of content around voting, and actually Stacey Abrams,
Mm-hmm.
her organization Fair Fight. So I was like, yes, to all the Black women politicians, like yes, yes, yes. And he was like, listen, I was like, what, but like, why are you asking me if I'm into her? And he's like, well, actually, he's like, I done something with her in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and they've reached out to me to kind of help them curate a virtual fundraiser awareness situation, if you will. I put your name on the short list, and they've expressed interest in you. So I'm calling you to formally tell you that Kamala Harris wants you to get involved. And I
No
was like,
way.
what? This is insane. So I didn't know it was going to happen so quickly because it's obviously
Mm-hmm.
like just next Friday. But I was really, really excited because, if there's one thing that's like come out of everything, it's that I've completely realized that my platform can be super educational
Yes.
and really raise awareness. And so I just feel like really honored to be a part of such a just a moment in history,
It's
honestly. And
important. Yeah.
yeah,
It's almost like
and
anything you can do. It's at this point, it's like people who I don't see chipping in, I'm just like, why aren't you doing like it's like,
I
you're gonna be
know.
DJing and kind of lending some of your skills there, but it's like, you know, all your followers are gonna know about this event now. And that is
Yeah.
just awesome.
And I really don't care if people don't like the candidate or
Hmm.
what. Like, I'm sorry, there's only one side to be on.
Exactly. Totally.
So,
I'm with you on that.
yeah.
Um, and I'm curious because I mean, I'll ask you about this after, but I saw your amazing video on voter suppression and just explaining a lot about that. And before we get into that, I'm just curious what your personal journey, like since you've grown your platform, what has your journey been like when it comes to talking politics or talking about social issues? Or anything that certain followers might find divisive or might not agree with, like have you had any sort of struggle with that, or I'm just curious what your mindset has evolved, how it has evolved over the years.
In my like true DNA, I've
Mm-hmm.
always been very vocal about my political and social beliefs. Have always been an advocate for voting.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, before I don't even think I had social media when Obama was first elected. And I was in college. It was the first election I was ever able to vote um, in his first presidency.
Same.
Yeah. And I remember being at school and we were just my school happened to be in a district that was predominantly red. And so a lot of my fellow students and I, we did a lot of um, like kind of like neighborhood outreach,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like grassroots stuff, but
Like
like,
knocking on doors and things.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just making sure that also all of our fellow students were registered and
Mm-hmm.
everything, because this was going to be a big deal, and it felt like a really big deal for us. This was the
For
first time we
sure.
were going to be able to vote for a presidential election, and I remember when we all watched um, the announcement that Obama won, and we all went out into the streets and we lit off fireworks, and
Oh my
it
God.
was it was really amazing. And there was no social media that I was on then. I mean, maybe Facebook, but I
Right.
wasn't very
Instagram
active
didn't
on.
exist. Right.
No, Instagram did not exist. So I think for me, it's always been in my DNA, but it maybe has not been something that I have been so vocal on social media. Um, the social justice aspect, I feel like my personal lens always lends itself to the fact that I am a Black woman, and that's just like, I don't understand how my content could be seen otherwise.
Right.
So just because I'm not overtly um, calling attention to it doesn't mean that I've ever ignored it, but rather now that we're seeing what's happening to the rest of my community, I feel like it's my responsibility to highlight
Mm-hmm.
all of the things that I've personally gone through, that we as a society go through, that haven't been brought to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that's talking about like my own experiences, working in fashion or raising money or in college, or microaggressions, or being, told I can't get on a plane by a steward, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
for so many people who think, oh, maybe that person was just being rude, my first thought is, oh, maybe they said that because of the color of my skin.
Right.
And for people who can't understand that, um, I guess I didn't realize how hard it was for people to understand. I think that's what I'm kind of realizing. It's not that I clearly am now talking about it more than ever
Mm-hmm.
because of the climate, but I guess what's most shocking to me is um, the lack of awareness that
And
people
you're talking
have.
about the lack of awareness that people had before this moment. You think like
Yeah,
it's like it took this much of a wake up call for people to be
yeah,
like
it's
even
really,
acknowledging that there's a difference.
yeah, it's really
Yeah.
wild.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, and I was just curious because you are a Black woman navigating multiple different industries, professionally and personally, and I was just curious, like, about if you're comfortable sharing, what have been some of the conversations that you've had in the past month or so been like, or interactions with followers, or has it been encouraging for you? Are there discouraging aspects of this kind of discourse? Like, I'm just curious, sort of, what your experience has been like, because you're a part of a lot of different worlds, and your perspective is unique, and I'm glad that you're sharing it.
Yeah, so I've definitely had a whole range of
Mm-hmm.
conversations, things that have shocked me, and things that definitely are super encouraging, um, to keep pushing the conversation forward. I think I am realizing that how uncomfortable these conversations can be for people. And so I'm trying to meet people where they are, and
Mm.
trying to um, really kind of speak to everything with a level of like eloquence and education that I think unfortunately it takes to make it so clear and simple
Right.
what is happening when people are so stuck in their lens. um I'm so over this like whole term of unlearning and relearning and whatever, but it's really true. Like
Mm-hmm.
people, I've had conversations with uh, Jewish friends who have made strange comments, and the parallels between the Jewish oppression and the Black oppression are overt,
Yeah.
and yet it seems that they can't rally behind Black people, and that's really disappointing and really hard, and really also quite hard for me personally, who is Black and Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
um, and then I have conversations with just people who say really ignorant shit,
Mm-hmm.
like, if
Still.
yeah, and I can't even repeat some of the things that people have said, but um, I'll just say that, a, a sentiment that I think holds true for some people that I've spoken to is that if Black people could just work harder, which is one of the most
It's extremely ignorant thing to say.
beyond, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so frustrating, um, because we know that there are
It's so much
systems,
bigger.
and
It's so much
it's so
bigger.
much better, and there are
It's like,
systems in place
yeah,
that make it 10 times more difficult.
exactly.
And we see what happens to Black people who then do gain wealth,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're knocked down even more. We see, like, there's just so much, and
Yeah,
that's such a narrow minded, ignorant comment to make, and it's so hurtful and frustrating. Yet I feel like I am still in a position where I can't necessarily show my true feelings
mm.
about such a statement, because then I fall into a stereotype of being an angry Black woman.
It's like damned if you do and damned if you don't. And it's like, by somebody saying that, to me, what that is saying is like they're not even paying attention to what's really being spoken about right now. Because if you're paying
100%.
attention, then you're hearing people talk about the fact that this is systemic, this is built into the DNA of our country, and just like the, how this entire country operates. And so
I
that
mean,
to me is
even
just
even just like even, and again, it's like a micro level, but even everyone is talking about like diversity
mm-hmm,
and inclusion, and it's like, okay, so diversity literally means that you have thought about having that Black people are an afterthought for you,
right.
because diversity literally means other, and so we are not the norm.
Mm,
You know what I mean? It's as simple as
right.
that. So it's these conversations, I personally feel like, again, I don't have the opportunity to get emotional
Mm-hmm,
or get tired, because this is just what it is. Like, we
mm-hmm,
have to continue educating in a articulate and unfortunately semi-fragile way, because otherwise the message just seems really hard to get through.
for sure. And I mean, that takes us back to something that I did want to talk about, which is your video that you put out about voter suppression, that you talked about a lot of things that Stacey Abrams talks about, and um, that was sent to me by a lot of different people. Like, it was shared with me multiple times. It has over
Oh,
2 million views on your
cool.
page, and I just thought it was. I think like you said, it's. I think the way that you delivered that message was so like you were meeting people where they were. It was in a way that people can, like, it was conversational, but also, you know, there were so many facts that I had never heard before in what you were saying. And um, I don't know, like I'm curious, one, what you took from the response to that video, and two, like, would you do more of those? Because there was a lot to gain from that video.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much. So at the end of that video, I did say, like, as I continue educating myself, I am going to share with my audience. And that's exactly what I plan to do.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be doing more of those episodes. And right now I'm actually working on another one, but really and again, the focus is voter suppression, but it's from a different angle, and it's from kind of the
Cool.
mass incarceration angle. There's just so much to unpack.
For sure. It's like, where do you even
That
begin almost?
right. So
Mm-hmm.
and I think we've now made a checklist of, or just like a list of all the things that we do want to cover, and it's okay
Mm-hmm.
if we don't cover it all in one video.
For
So I think
sure.
that there are going to be many of these videos coming out, and we are going to kind of keep our focus on you know voter suppression, the oppression of Black people, not even necessarily just in America. I had something else that has been really enlightening to me is just the fact that I don't even really know about Black history as it pertains to um, like that's different than what I was taught in school.
For sure.
Like, and what we were taught in school is
It's such a white perspective on history. I
it's
listened
great.
to, have you listened to 1619 from New York Times? Like
Yes, it's
that opened my eyes like nothing else ever has, I don't think. Yeah.
totally. And I'm also a part of I'm on the board of a museum called MoFad. It's the Museum of Food and Drink.
Hmm.
And we had an exhibition that was supposed to open in April, but obviously due to COVID, we had to postpone. But the exhibition is called African/American, and it's literally the contributions of uh, Africans and Black Americans who have formed the culinary industry as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now more than ever, I know I'm craving this. I want to hear these stories of these Black heroes.
Yeah.
I want that culture that I feel like has,
Was hidden from you almost.
yes,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
completely.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and I think like you said, sort of not doing all these videos at once and sort of spreading them out is like, again, like this is not just a moment in time, it's a movement.
no,
It has to be a constant thing. So like I think it's smart that you're not just like churning out 10 videos like this and putting them up in June. Like, no,
totally.
let's like it's all 2020, it's all next year, it's for the rest of
It's for the
eternity. So
rest.
it's like, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it really, and it really needs to be a movement
Hmm.
with real sustained action, because without action, it's just a slogan.
Totally. Yeah, yeah, I love that. That's a good way of that's a good digestible way of putting it. Seriously. Well, Hannah, it was so fun talking to you. Good luck with Kamala Harris event. That'll be really
Thank
fun.
you so
And
much.
I can't wait to try the bath bomb at some point.
Thank you. I can't wait for you to try it either. And thanks so much for this interview. I was really looking forward.
Of
It was such a
course.
great chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll have a great holiday
You
weekend.
too. Bye.
Okay, bye.
For more stories from In the Know, go to intheknow.com. You can also follow In the Know on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and find me, Gibson Johns, on Instagram and Twitter at Gibsonoma. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.